Welcome to the first year BTech undergraduate program in Basic Electronics Lab. ES 191, the subject code for first year first sem. EC 291, the subject code for first year second sem, will be held at room number 310 under the Department of Electronics and Communication at Narula Institute of Technology, JIS Group. With the best warm wishes from our HOD, Dr. Anish De, teacher in charge, Mr. Shoman Paul, lab in charge, myself, Mr. Subrata Majumdar. So, here with ECNIT, welcome to you all in the Basic in Electronics Laboratory. Let's go to the slide.
Which I already told you that volts per division switch has a two action. One is attenuating, another is amplifying. So first it will get attenuated if the signal is high enough. Then if it is not high enough, then it will pass through automatically through the attenuator as it is and go to the pre-amplifier section for further amplification. This is two part. Okay. So according to the position of the knob, which block will work, which block will get effective, it will determine. Okay. This after processing the signal will go to the vertical mode switch. What is vertical mode switch? Vertical mode switch and switching logics and trigger switch. Go to the panel. This is our mode switch. You could see at the center, this is our mode switch. Okay. So let's see what description we have already made. I have already made for you for this mode switch. So I will, every part inside of the CRT is there. CRT functionality is there. You can see these vertical plates, horizontal plates, and here the voltages is mentioned to adjust the focus and velocity of the electron. Brightness control, this is the brightness control grid, V grid. Text, all the text I am not reading again and again. You should read anytime. This is the normal single trace when we does not applied any signal at the CRO. This is a real picture from our lab. Okay. The incoming signal trace under test. Now for the mode switch. Mode switch at here at flag 14. Volts per division already described. Vertical section, but this mode switch also come under a vertical section. Yes, here the function mode selector 14, flag number 14. It is a 4-step vertical slider switch to configure the vertical input mode of the CRO, such as dual trace, mono. When it is mono, then question about channel 1 or channel 2, and then a separate position of add. So this, what is the 4 steps of this vertical mode switch? First is dual, second channel 1 or channel 2, both will come under mono. That means when it is channel 1 or either or channel 2, then we could say our CRO is configured at mono. Okay. And that time, what channel you have selected, only we will get the trace for this particular channel. Other channel will automatically go off. And another very special position called add. Add means at that position you will also get a single trace, but will get the entire value of these two inputs. Suppose at that time you will already physically connect channel 1 and channel 2 also, and both has a different signals. Okay, so you will get the add result of these two channels. Suppose you have a 1 volt signal at channel 1 and 2 volt signal at channel 2. Then if you set up at add mode, add position, then you will get a 3 volt peak to peak signal at that time. In a single trace, add 2 channel signals. But there will be another significance, another position. I again go to the front panel, another switch at the side here. Here if you see, at under the flag number 19, channel 2 inversion. Understand this thing very carefully. Okay. this channel 2 and add position. Okay, so channel 1, channel 2, I already told you that is a mono mode. Dual means at that time you will get two trace independently. Two trace will get, and you could operate the trace 1. You could operate the trace 1 with this position, and you could configure the volts per division value with this channel 1 volt per division. And if it is trace 2, you will operate the position. That means this action, this position where your trace will occur, you will confirm with this position knob, and accordingly volt per division value will be set by this knob. But when it is add mode, what will happen? When it is add mode, you will get a single trace. Okay, suppose at that time you will get a signal of 1 volt here and 2 volt here at channel 2, and if you place this at add position, this switch, then you will get a single trace, but you will get a waveform, so that the waveform has a value of 3 volt entirely. But at that time, if you pressed that switch, channel 2 inversion, if you pressed, okay, if you press that switch at inside, then what will happen? This 2 volt will be negatively affect this trace. That means it will subtracted from 1 volt. So in resultant, you will get minus 1 volt. That means your trace will go down at 1 volt of division, and it will only having a 1 volt amplitude. It will it will go down with 2 volt per division, 1 and 2, and only 1 volt amplitude will be there. That means minus 1. So channel 2 inversion will applied only when you require a subtraction operation. That means when you will need a delta resultant of these two signals, channel 1 and channel 2. Understand my point? And these vernier knobs, what it will done, these vernier knobs, let's see. Vertical position, vertical vernier controls. Vertical position you already understand that it will use to navigate our trace upwards or downwards basically. Okay, symbols I have already draw over here. It is 2 independent control knobs provided for each channels to navigate the signal traces or beams upwards or downwards. Why I am written over traces or beam? That means when it is in oscilloscope mode, that means YT mode. YT means T is automatically generated by the time base, and Y is provided from the input terminals. That is YT mode. And another mode, in another mode we will configure this oscilloscope, that is called XY mode. When your time base will not generating any signal, any shortwave waveforms, 1 and 2 as a X and Y. That means at that time X and Y both are the variables. We could apply 2 signals at the X plate also and Y plate also. Let's discuss me in the later sessions. First we could understand this vertical controls, everything. Now the vernier knobs. What is the vernier controls of channel 1 and 2? 2 independent variable knobs provided for each channels. So let's talking about the vertical vernier. Vertical vernier controls is the 2 independent variable knobs provided for each channels. That means channel 1 and channel 2 respectively, to adjust the vertical scale between 2 adjacent steps. That means at any time we could see 2 steps over there for volts per division. Suppose when you set 1 volt per division, below that we will get 2 volt per division, and after we will get 0.5 volt per division. So it will effective for adjacent two steps. At the minimum position, the vertical scale between two, suppose for an example, for the extreme minimum position, it will get 25 times greater than the original value of the selected scale by the volts per division knob. What means? That means let's see the panel again. Here in this picture you will see we already setted our, suppose consider the channel 1. Channel 1 is setted at 2 volt per division. At the screen you will get, see this channel 1 is setted for 2 volt per division, okay, and it is setted at cal position. That means this cal position will ensure that this 2 volt per division. That means effectively our channel for channel 1 volt per division switch is correctly set it at 2 volt per division. But if we shift from this cal position, this vernier knob from anywhere at the extreme point, at this extreme point 2.5 times greater, that means it will multiply 2 into 2.5, okay. So that amount of scale will not be seen over there that time. It will still displaying 2 volt, but you should calculate manually with this particular scale, whatever scale it is maintained. Suppose at that time you will shift that volts per division at 1 volt, only 1 volt, okay. Then it will be 2.5 volt effectively if this vernier knobs is placed at extreme left hand side. But if you select at cal position, then the 1 volt is ensured, okay. To get the correct readings, you should set that vernier knobs accordingly, just like as horizontal sweep vernier also. It has also a cal position. You will see over here, cal position over here, okay. So this time per division value 0.5 millisecond only ensured when the horizontal vernier knob is set at cal position. And the same thing happening about the time base also. If you shifted it from cal position to minimum side, it will further multiplied with this 0.5 into 2.5, okay. So it will very effective. Actually we have seen that it is very effective when we already does not know any signal. Suppose you are doing a testing about an unknown signal from your circuit, and that source could not be controlled. It is automatically generated from your circuit output. So now if you like to compare others device, suppose you have already designed a master circuit, and you will confirm that that output will be as desired, like you like it, you like to obtain it, okay. That is a standard signal. And if you calibrate that variable signal by your vernier switch once, then you will again and again you will test any other circuit at that position. Suppose you will need that means we have a step value of this volt per division 2 and 1. Between 1 and 2 it does not have any step, but your circuit will automatically generate 1.7 volt output. And now if you set that vernier switch so that your screen will configured for a division of 1.7, and now you will test another circuit again and again repeatedly, that will be very effective in the production mode actually, okay. So this is an advanced feature. Generally we recommend that anytime you just kept your vernier switch at cal position strictly, so that the display screen will maintain as it is. Now the main key point of this oscilloscope is time per division dial knob, okay. So we already know the one of the very important feature of our using a CRO to determine a signal frequency, unknown signal frequency. whatever signal we have connected at the input, first we have to know the frequency of this signal and the amplitude as well. So how to determine the frequency of this signal, we will know from this block. The time per division dial knob at this figure 8, flag with 11 on the oscilloscope controls the amount of time per centimeter or division is configured. A simple method of determining frequency of a signal is to estimate its periodic time from the trace on the CRT screen. To calculate the frequency of observed signal, one has to measure the period. So to determine the frequency, we have to determine the time period, capital T. Okay. So the time taken for a one complete cycle using the calibrated scale, sweep scale, that is calibrated sweep scale. I already told you that verniers, horizontal sweep vernier should be kept at calibrated mode. That is called calibrated. And another input calibrated signal also provided at the CRO. If you see the complete panel at channel 1, demarked with channel 1, cal 2 volt peak to peak 1 kilohertz signal. What is where it is physically placed at the CRO? Let's see the front diagram. One terminal is provided to the standard signal of 1 kilohertz 2 volt peak to peak. Square wave signal is provided, clock signal basically. You could connect any BNC probe from this channel 1 and channel 2 to this calibrated signal output. Here, after connecting that terminal, you will get this kind of square wave form. Okay. So, a complete cycle using the calibrated sweep scale, to the period could be calculated by T, which is number of division occupied by a cycle. That means whatever signal you have connected at the input, the signal definitely has a repetitive time cycles, and how much division is occupied by a one cycle into selected time per division scale at the screen. Here, just taken consideration of this flag under flag number 13, 0.5 millisecond already selected with the time per division dial knob, and at that time how much cycle, how much division is occupied by a one cycle. So we could get the frequency. So once our time period is known, in this way we could get the frequency by F equals to 1 by T second. So frequency will be in hertz. Remember this relation always. So frequency will come in hertz when your T in second. So that ratio should be maintained always, must be maintained always. This is a principle of ramp signals. Those are already I told you in the block diagram session. So let's see where I put some real example from our laboratory how to determine the frequency. All things are important. I skip here. Now in this screen you will see I plot I shoot a screen from our laboratory with having a triangular waveform, and after that I annotate it how to determine the frequency. You could see at the panel. Let's see from the function generator part. Here a function generator is attached with this BNC knob. Follow this orange arrow, it will connect it at the channel 1 of the CRO. Okay, and at the function generator we already set it a 20.08 kilohertz signal. This is the range switch. From here we will already set it at 20 kilohertz range. So standing on that range we will easily generate the 20.80 kilohertz, and the waveform function is triangular, already set it. Offset, what I am telling about before, that offset is not there because this DC offset switch is set at off position. When it is just release the off position, and above the warp position, any position will be liable to create a offset. So here by default we will not, we not introducing any offset at the input, at the output signal. So clearly we will get a 20 kilohertz triangle waveform without any offset at this settings. Okay, understand the function generator part, how to generate a signal, standard signal without any offset. So further, if you increase that frequency at same range, you have to vary this frequency vernier knobs, frequency variable knobs over here. Okay, and the amplitude, signal amplitude will be determined from this knob, amplitude variable. This is your amplitude and this is your frequency. Okay, and this is what duty cycle. Let's talk about later. This is something different. So right now, for your reference, I like to tell you that that is a symmetrical waveform. That means duty cycle is 50%. Okay, until unless we modify it. So now, after connecting that signal at the CRO, we will get this kind of waveform, a symmetrical triangular waveform, where now we should consider, look at the time base. Time base is already set at 20 microsecond. Okay, so we could easily determine that horizontally one big division having a value of 20 microsecond, and you will see, if you get a close look, every big division again subdivided by a small divisions. So if you consider a big division by 1, then easily you will assume that small division are determined by 0.2. 1 divided by 5, that means 0.2. Okay, that will be calculated in back of your mind. So let's I again annotate you. If it is 1, here to here, if it is 1, then you could see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 small division is here. So 1 divided by 5 equals to 0.2. So if it is 1, then the small division, between the small division is gap is 0.2. So now we could see, when we consider talking about a cycle of a waveform, then we should consider the repetitive zero crossing, or we could correlate this zero crossing with this peak also. That only because this is a symmetrical waveform. Okay, so in every position we will get a same distance. So you will see from one peak to another peak, it has to be covered with one division. Just follow this zero below annotation here, how to calculate. If it is 0, one peak is lying over there. To horizontally synchronize that waveform with these lines, you have to use this position knob to move your trace left to right, to set the one peak at this line. Okay, at any line, so that you calculate, so that you assume that that is a 0, and this is 1 division, this is 2 division, and then between this 2 and 3 you will get 2.5. Understand how I calculate the entire division for a 1T? So 2.5 division time will required to capture a 1 time cycles, 1 time period. So now we have to convert it, this division into time scale. So at that time we will see our time base is set at 20 microsecond over here. So that is why I am using this annotation, 20 microsecond. So our entire 2.5 division time is converted into the actual time scale at 50 microsecond, because 2.5 division into 20 microsecond. 2.5 division will come from here, take from here, and 20 microsecond we will get from this LCD screen, the actual time base value. and after multiplying it, we will get 50 microsecond. This 50 microsecond actually required to develop one time cycle. So if it is 50 microsecond, then apply the formula of frequency f equals to 1 by 20. Then remember the relation f in hertz when t in second. F in hertz when t in second. So here our t is time is in microseconds. So that is why we have to further multiply this 20 by 10 to the power minus 6 to convert it in second. Then only we will get the 20,000 hertz, which is nothing but 20 kilohertz. And at that point you will see the actual automatic counter of this instrument. This will also tell you the 20 kilohertz. See over here. So that means you could ensure that your calculation is okay with the help of this from the function generator also and the automatic frequency counter also. Any doubt? Soman sir, are you there?
Now I am demonstrating the virtual CRO and function generator through a third-party website of elecng.dit.ie/dsp/elab. Okay. With that link, you have to go to the browser, any of the browser, and see the demonstration.
So you have got that link of this current page in front of you. I have shared it already in the WhatsApp group. So after clicking at there, you will get redirected in this page where you can simulate virtually any signal connected with a function generator to the CRO and measure it with the predefined process. Those are, you already know how to calculate the frequency and amplitude of a frequency through CRO. So if it is possible, side by side, we recommend that you go to that website. Those are in the PC platform. So student, you got that link, and then you click there and you will get that page. Okay, so here you can see one function generator at the top of the screen and the CRO at the below, and both are connected with a BNC cable from function generator output to CRO input at the channel 1. So from the function generator, we can generate different function, just like as sine wave, triangular wave, and square wave. This respectively, these three buttons are for this waveform, function waveform, and then accordingly at the top of the left side of this frequency selector, you can see 1, 10, 100, 1K, 10K, 100 kilo ohms are the range. Basic range, and then below of this range you will get a frequency multiplier. So whenever you select any range, then after as per your multiplier setting, you will get the frequency. So as example, right now it is set at 10 range, and it is selected at 1. So that means 10 into 1, 10 hertz will be generated. Okay. So if you like to generate 50 hertz, then you'll have to move that knob at 5. Now it will be 50 hertz. So our task is to generate fast. At the end of the lab with the Google Classroom, we will assign you, we will give you some arbitrarily some random frequency and amplitude, and you have to generate that frequency and signal amplitude by this function generator, and then after you have to read the signal and you have to show the calculation process, whatever already you learned. So here, after setting the frequency, we have to set the amplitude. There will be no DC offset. We can create, but right now it is not required. If DC offset is created, then what will happen? The waveform, total waveform in the CRO will go up and go down according to the offset polarity. If it is mixed a positive DC offset, then the signal will be go up. If it is makes the negative DC offset, then the signal will go down, waveform will go down at the DC mode. Okay, so now coming in the CRO controls are this is the channel switch. If you place it off mode, then no signal will be coming over here. Only zero line and trigger line will be visible. Now after switching on, this is the volts per division. From where you have to set your amplitude scale at the CRO, and at the time per division where you have to set your x-axis scale. Now these two knobs at the top, one for vertical position, that means if you rotate it, your trace will be go up and go down. That means it will shift your zero lines, baseline. And this is the horizontal position. So if you shift it, just press and hold your mouse key at these two sides, then you will see the exact trigger point. You will see that trigger pointer will shift at the top here. So this is the trigger point. The left side of the portion of the signal is called post-trigger signal, and the right side of the signal is called pre-triggered signal. Now you can see, you change this scenario, trigger position by this rising and falling button. Okay, now it is in falling edge selected. So that is why, if I annotate, that is why after triggering point, post trigger simulation is starting from here. So this is called falling edge. Okay, this is falling edge. So if you select that switch at rising edge, then you can see again you set the trigger point exactly, and it will starting from the rising end. Let me annotate again. First delete the previous one. Now it is started from rising end. Okay, so in this way we can control the CRO and function generator. Now, so what is the function of time per division? That means in this CRO, what we will done here, we viewing that signal in YT mode. Y means the y-axis is amplitude and x-axis is time value of time. So in this configuration, we configure our CRO in time domain. Okay, so x-axis actually represent the time. So if you calculate if you know the value of the frequency, then first you have to know the capital T of the signal, particular waveform. One cycle, how much time is required to cover one cycle by that signal. So that is why the time per division is very vital settings. Right now you can see time per division is set at 10 milliseconds. Okay, so that means from here to here, every big division horizontally will set it configured at 10 milliseconds. Okay, but what is the when it should be controlled properly? Suppose in that situation, suppose when you just switch on the CRO, you will get this kind of waveform. Can you measure any time period from this figure? So that means the input signal already set it at 50 Hertz. From the function generator setting, we already get that our input signal of this CRO is 50 Hertz. But when you start on the CRO, physically or virtually, suppose at first it is set by default set it at 0.2 millisecond. 50 Hertz, we have set our signal trace so slower. That is why every peak are consecuted in a single division. And now, right now, for 50 Hertz, we are setting our CRO in very fast manner. So for the entire skin, we will get only a part of the signal. Just opposite. Okay. So here we have to set our time base accordingly so that we could get the signal properly. If you familiar with this kind of settings at 20 milliseconds, so 50 hertz, for knowing this purpose, for knowing this position, how you have to set your function oscilloscope time base. For first, you have to know the input signal, little bit of knowledge with your input signal. So 50 hertz means, you can easily calculate, 50 hertz means if we already know that F equals to 1 by T. So if you calculate the T, it will give you 20 millisecond. Capital T, if the capital T is 20 millisecond, then our frequency is 50 hertz. So, and again, if you apply any calculator also, I could show you, open a calculator. So T equals to then 1 by F so we are getting that result in second. So sorry, if we further multiplied it by 10 to the power 3, then we will get 20 millisecond. Understand? So first you have to calculate the standard time period of that input signal. Then accordingly set your time base just plus minus of 10% or 20%. Then you will get the exact waveform in your CRO. Got my point? Now you have to calculate and ensure that it is perfect or not. Now for our better observation, we set it at 10 millisecond. So what will be done? So first we already know that for 50 hertz we have got a standard time period of 20 millisecond, and now we have set it at 10 milliseconds. So easily we could determine that to capture a single time period of this 50 hertz, we will actually see here one time period from here to here, one cycle of this frequency is getting 2 division. So every division here at 10 millisecond. So after covering up this waveform horizontally in x-axis with 2 division, we'll easily get our entire time period 20 millisecond. So we can calculate in reverse way. F equals to 1 by T, here 20 milli. That is why we have to convert it in second. So here it will be applied 10 to the power minus 3 per second. You will get 50 hertz again. By default, once frequency is already set at how much frequency? Look at the function generator. 10, it is set at 10 range. So waveform is selected at sinusoidal, and multiplier is placed at 1. So 10 into 1 means 10 hertz. This no DC offset. Amplitude is 4 volt. Okay, amplitude 4 volt means it will be show by peak to peak in double, because CRO can show us peak to peak signals. Here amplitude, the term amplitude means it will tell you the from 0 to positive values of the voltages. Okay. So first coming to the frequency, here it is in 10 hertz. We have to set it at 50 hertz. Okay, 50 hertz is set it. So now in this way we also can calculate, but yes, now just what I have been done, I am shifting one single peak at the center line, vertical center line of this screen so that we can calculate the entire time period, capital T, by the time per division values. Okay. But sometimes what happened, if you just zoom one step by time per division, that means from 20 millisecond we have shift the time per division at 10 milliseconds. So what actually we have been done, we have been done little more faster our time base. So that is why our waveform is expanding horizontally. Okay, 20 millisecond is greater or 10 millisecond is greater? 20 millisecond is greater. So we are reducing time, that means it's make faster our trace. Understand that point? Right? And then we have to use this horizontal position knob, again set it in a central line of our any peak, single peak. Okay. Now we have to just visually correlate. If it is starting from here, then it ends at here. So it starts from just behind of this line, in its end at behind of this second division. So it will actually taking 1 and 2 division. Okay, right now we have set it this time per division at 10 millisecond. So this will be our capital T for any waveform. And this capital T is occupied 2 division when CRO is set at 10 millisecond per division. So capital T equals to 10 milli, the actual setting time base, and the total division, 2 division. So if you done that part at first, then just you have to put the frequency formula 1 by 20 ms into 10 to the power minus 3. Understand? It is already set at 2 volt per division. So from these settings of function generator, we know that our signal will be 6 volt peak to peak. Okay, let calculate it. So at the time of the frequency calculation, we are phasing a vertical line to our any peak. Here we are setting that waveform by this help of vertical position. We are shifting that waveform to set the negative peaks at the 0 line. Now you can see from here to here, how many division is there? 1, 2, 3. When you thinking about amplitude, you have to calculate in this way. So from here to here 1 division, from here to here 2 division, and from here to here 3 division. And how many value is set at volts per division? 2. 2 into 3, 6 volt peak to peak. Now at the end, view the demonstration of physical CRO and function generator at our college lab through the below mentioned my own YouTube links. From there you will get the different video which has been shooted in our physical laboratory at the NIT Agarwara. Okay, thank you for viewing this video. Now I am ending this session. Thank you.